What's going on, folks? It's your man Jay Will back with another video. So this video, as you can see the title, everybody seems to think that everybody copies Apple, and my problem with that is this right here. So if you remember back, you know that Apple, you see all those so-called clones of Apple phones from back in the day that were in another country that looked like the iPhone. If you guys are following the history here, Apple originally got that design from the other company, then they released it in the U.S. But I think what's happening now is that I think we should kind of step away from the thought that everybody's copying Apple, because what you're doing is you're empowering Apple to think that they're the industry leaders. And a lot of you guys, when you start talking about Apple, you start talking about, oh, they sold 15 million of them, they sold 70 million of them. That doesn't make them a successful company. If you're just thinking about money and the numbers, oh yeah, they're a successful company, but that doesn't mean that Apple is this great successful company. There's an underlying gray area that a lot of people try to skip over. So there's phones that are going to come out that quote unquote stole the notch or look like the notch or look like the iPhone X. But how about Apple got that design from somebody else and they released it prior to other companies releasing the design? Let's look at the industry here. Everybody was doing a certain type of phone, and then everybody switched to another type of phone. Everybody started going, they went from plastic to metal to glass. You got it? So I really, this isn't like a video to bash Apple. Obviously, I rock with Apple phones, and lots of Apple products. But when it comes to the phones, it's kind of silly to hear a lot of people saying, oh, they're stealing Apple's design, they're cloning Apple phones. When in reality, Apple jacked those designs from another OEM or another company and brought it to the U.S. But see, a lot of you guys might not believe that. You might say, no way. Apple was the first to bring that design. When they weren't the first to bring that design, they were the first ones to make it look the way it looks. But that notch area right there, now we're starting to see an influx of phones that look like that style. And, to us, it might look like, okay, well, they're copying Apple. Everybody is not copying Apple. But even Steve Jobs, when he was alive, he said something to the nature that, great people steal, pretty much. Stealing people's designs is okay as long as you capitalize on it. But I don't think that, even my iPhone X, the notch, so to speak, or whatever, it didn't really bother me that much after having it for a while. But it's definitely not the best phone. But in the same sentence, all of these phones that are coming out now, I can guarantee you their hardware was definitely in production before Apple's hardware, but since Apple hit the market first with it, everybody's copying Apple. And I just don't believe that to be true. Apple's not this great, successful, bumpy cam on purpose. I had to get my clean rack. Apple's not this great. People give Apple power when it comes to their phones by saying they're the best, they're the greatest. There's something good about their phones, but when it comes to design, they definitely don't have the best design, and the iPhone X's design is not revolutionary, and I can guarantee you probably that design should have been released on a different Android phone a long time ago, but Apple beat them to the punch. Who's to say that Apple isn't sliding them a little bit of cash and say, hey, look, if you know business, it is what it is. If you don't know business, you might think, oh, Jay, but if you know business, money talks. So if Apple likes the design of something, and they say, hey, here's $100 million to keep quiet. Here's $10 million to keep quiet and give us that design. Then afterwards, you can release yours. Let's put this into play here. And it happens, folks. It happens all the time. Not just with the mobile phone industry. It happens in the music industry. You'll hear a song and be like, oh, snap, I didn't know what's the name produced and wrote that song. I thought that so-and-so wrote the song. That's kind of where you got to start looking at things, folks, because I've seen some things that are going to come to the market, and a lot of guys, when I looked at this stuff, I'm thinking, yeah, Apple just rushed their design out before everybody else, because these products have been in production long before the iPhone X was definitely even being thought of or released. And they tell you, hardware takes about 3 to 9 months to get it rolling. When companies say, oh, we've been working on this for 2 years, it was a year in the making, don't believe everything you hear, man, and definitely don't believe everything you see. So is everybody copying Apple? Nah. Apple, here's another side note for you. Why is it that Huawei is being targeted here for this spying on everybody? Folks, every piece of hardware that you have can be hacked. Don't believe the hype. So Huawei devices aren't spying on you. Everything in your house that has a camera, a microphone is spying on you. Your fingerprints, all spying on you. You know what I mean? it's all there. But I feel like that's some control by certain companies that have a lot of money in the U.S. They want to keep Huawei on hush mouth because Huawei's products might be a little better and cost less. So it's your man Jay Will. Everybody's not copying Apple, man. Let's get past that. You see these phones that are getting ready to drop, because you get ready to see a lot of phones that get ready to drop that the design looks exactly like the iPhone X. But how do you know that that deal wasn't done prior to the iPhone X releasing? I'm ending on that note, so I'm out of here. Deuces. Oh, Eagle Nation. You already know.